So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Eddie Marcus here again. And I find myself, after all of this time, coming back, hoping that maybe the right words, the right phrase might be put together that would be instrumental in awakening you to the fact that living as though we were in heaven, we are passing it up. We've always supposed to live like that. We can live like that today. And any remaining time that humans have on earth, we can live like that. The reason we don't live like that is because the people, we, us, the people who have not had their eyes open. And when I say eyes open, I mean know the truth. People who feel the truth within themselves, and they know it's the truth because they themselves have conjured up an understanding that that individual has got to be as loving to every human being on earth before they will understand what that means. They're going to have to want people to be happy all over the earth, everywhere, every last one of them, regardless of their gender, their nationality, their shade. Each individual will want everybody to have that type of life, free. Until we do, we will never understand what it means. Some of us say we're lovers, but we love on ourselves. Some of us say we're lovers, we only love our immediate family. Some of us say we're lovers, we only love our race. Some of us say we're lovers, we only love our gender. Some of us say we're lovers, but we only love our national brothers and sisters. You're not a lover. You don't know what love is. But you've been taught that you know what love is. And ladies and gentlemen, in America, I want to tell you that's the farthest thing from the truth. All of that is blindsided. All of that is a trick. Loving yourself is no darn good. In fact, it's worse. If you don't love yourself, don't love anybody else, that's equal. But all of a sudden you love yourself. That means you are above everybody else. You do anything to make sure that what your needs and desires are will be met at the expense, if need be, of everybody else. But that's not what love is. Love is a mother bringing a child into this world, knowing that that child can do nothing without that mother. And that mother knows that if that child is going to be worthwhile, she's going to have to teach that child well. And that means she's going to have to make sure that she understands well in order to reach that child. And as that child matures and does the same thing that this mother has done, there's going to have to be a consistent working together. It was hard the first leg because it was just an individual. It even seemed to be harder when you got two, especially when one wasn't able to give you anything but joy and pleasure. But you had to work doubly hard. Hopefully it was something that you liked. And I'm sure it is because it was required for your survival. But as they came together, the necessities were broadened. But the aid, the power source was also increased. And it narrowed the time frame that was necessary for each individual to be involved. All of this came by a way of coming together, cooperating together as a unit, knowing that everybody in this family got to be cool. How can I be walking out here with Stacey Adams shoes on looking good, and my brother living in the same room with me with some raggedy tennis on? That can't go in this house. Well, I want you to know that the creator of this house sees the whole earth as I have just articulated right there. Nobody on this earth has any business suffering for anything that is necessary for survival and any other good thing that they come up with. The mother of creation has deemed that. Now, I know that every human being on earth wants that. I know that. And I believe if you thought about it a second, you'd know that as well. You don't have to go ask them. You know that. And if you want your needs met, all of them, you got to know that they want all of theirs met as well. And if we don't know how to do that, we've got to come together and determine how to do that. Because if we don't come together and determine, we start following this and following that, and we get these, as we have here in America and around the world, crime and violence and the poverty and all these things that's an outgrowth of this negligent way of doing business with one another. And we keep on getting worse and worse, hating, trying to think that's going to cause something. Now you've lost the path altogether. You're not even trying to fix it. You're just trying to get your way, and you don't give a heck about anybody else's way, which means you are farther away from God today than you have ever been. For 36 years, I've out here in America, everywhere I can get the message about peace and prosperity and joy for every citizen, about food, clothing, shelter, education, and health care, and a career each individual is choosing that would make it possible that a great abundance of these requirements for survival will be made and available to everybody. And that we will have the careers that we love doing. So the joy, watch the great athletes. They love doing what they do. Watch the great teachers. They love teaching. Watch the great musicians. They love doing what they do. And if you draw a script, write a script. If that's what you do, that's what you love doing, and it is absolutely essential in the fulfillment of the will of the people of this earth. I want you to know that it's time that you know the truth. You are not lovers. You've been half-taught. Let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. Out of the 36 years, now what you have just heard me say, that's what I've been saying. I've never run across another individual who believed that peace and prosperity was possible, that the dreams of individuals could be met with God or without God, to the extent that they might say, well, it idealistically could happen, but it couldn't really happen. And they themselves use that as an excuse to not do anything to cause it to happen, but abstain to make sure that it doesn't happen. Now, I'm just like everybody else, mostly. But I must ask some wonderful parents. All you parents out there, your children does not understand this. This means that you and the society in which you are a part of have been, for some strange reason, abstaining from this teaching. I don't know, maybe you just didn't know, or maybe the system was planned to keep people ignorant of the fact that they can have heaven right today. Well, I'm telling you, right today, we can have heaven, and the power to have it is in our hands. You see, the material things that we require has already been given to us by the one who made it. And the ability to create these things, the gifts and talents that's essential, necessary for us to abstract from, has been instilled in us. And the institutions necessary to maintain these things are being established, has been established, and we can keep this thing going forward. The only thing that's holding us back is a teaching that says some are better than others, and as such, they are more deserving of the benefits of life than others. And to keep them at our feet, at our beck and call, we have to make sure that they suffer. In other words, they can't enjoy life like we enjoy life. That's a lie that's been perpetrated since the beginning of time, and people are still buying that lie. And that lie has destroyed nations. That lie has destroyed civilizations. That lie has destroyed everything that rode it to the end and wouldn't turn it loose. That lie. How in the world can you sit there and deny heaven to one another? How in the world can, I don't care what you do right now, I want to know this. How in the world can you sit there and deny heaven to every individual on this planet, and all you got to do is take your cut and do your part? And you, how can you not? You see, training has this power, I'm telling you. How can you not? You were trained to not. And you were trained to not think. You were trained to obey. You see, they say this is a nation of laws. So they make laws so you obey the laws. And the laws are geared to direct the path of your action. No thinking, just act. See, if they hadn't blocked your thinking, even though you were acting, maintaining your understanding, that you would still have the capacity and the ability and probably the will to think. And if you were thinking, you could see the other side of the coin. You could see that there's something that perhaps is better than all you know right now. That sometimes it might just be worth it to reach out if you could think. But thinking, well, we're going to have to work on that one. I said this to you, ladies and gentlemen, because it just don't make sense. Now you have somebody in office that everybody who, mostly everybody thinks he's a devil. When I say devil, I mean cares about nobody but himself. They might let it go out a little bit, but it's not going to go too far. And yet he's in office. And you're trying to shape your form of program to accept what is going on rather than to think your way out of this. Think how the hell you got caught up in some stuff like this and how fast you going to get out. Ladies and gentlemen, you know where this thing is going. But there are people in America who are just like me, who are standing up just like me. I make it sound like it's nobody but me doing it because I haven't run across them. But I'm no fool. I know that there are others out there doing the same thing. And they are probably, I hope, having a little bit more effect than I am. But I guess I would have to say they aren't because I still don't know nothing about them. But I can't do this. The only thing that happens to me from a society like the one we are talking about today, the one we live in, is that people who wake up and can't inspire the other people to wake up as well. Now, I'm not talking about waking up following. I'm talking about waking up. Till if they say, I'm the head, and they kill me, they haven't done anything. Because there's a million heads out there. Every head is out there thinking for themselves. Every heart is out there working in power of itself. Everybody is working to maintain peace, and they don't give a darn who pulling the trigger. They don't give a darn what kind of system is existing. Their mind is made up, and they are not going to let people suffer because they don't want to suffer, and they know that there's a power outside of Washington, D.C. There's a power outside of London. There's a power outside of the Vatican. There's a power outside of all this junk. You can't lay your eyes on it and see it. You can look around and see everything that it is able to manifest, but you can't see that power. That power is out there. And it's, when I say out there, I'm talking about outside of us. I don't mean some other world. I mean just outside of us. And I personally believe it sees everything. I personally do. Now, I'm not going to try to explain it to anybody else to make them believe it. I don't care about that. I'm saying I personally believe they do. That power is not of me. It's a power that is in me. It's a power that is in you that allows us to do the good things if we could receive it. If we put out the lie. Now you ask me and say, Eddie, you're asking us to do an awful lot. But how can we throw off the lie? Well, I really can tell you honestly this. Want to bad enough. And what to do will appear to you. I say that because what works for me doesn't necessarily work for you and pass across the board. What really works is the individual having a connection with that invisible power. and you following after me and trying to do something the same thing that I'm doing, you're reaching the wrong way. You're reaching for the power through somebody. And that's a stumbling block. That's like getting the heat from another room with the door closed. Open the door. Let that heat on up in there. You step on up in there and get closer. So, when you say, all I can tell you to do is want it, and the way will appear to you. And all you have to do is do it. If you're real, you will. And the governments of the world can look around any way they want to look, and they can't do a thing about it. Not one thing. Because now, ladies and gentlemen, you're not just human beings looking out for human beings. You are instruments of God looking out for love, looking out for justice, looking out for mercy, looking out for kindness, looking out for goodness, looking out for love. Well, I'm going to leave it there, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you so very much for giving me this your time, and I hope that I can get something even deeper than what I've shared with you. And if I do, you know I'll be back. Bye-bye.